We're gonna make another video. All the other ones have been so numbingly boring. What else can we do that would be interesting? Don't want any more pan shots of the huge bronze chicken leg in the Wilson Plaza or the Washington Monument or the White House. How do we describe this place, which is a gem and unique in Washington?
Well, how about Wilson's the first president with a PhD, and his thesis was written on Congress?
He started a lot of things, including, I guess, the first press conference.
How's that going to get people to stop eating?
Well, on that note, do we want to talk about the negatives?
There's a certain irony here in that he was a internationalist for the 20th century, but a 19th century domestic president.
The Woodrow Wilson Presidential Memorial put out a book about race in Washington in the early 20th century, which didn't praise Woodrow Wilson.
If Woodrow Wilson were here now, he would be a different kind of president. But we do get the two big parts of his legacy, which are the scholarship and the connection of deep scholarship to policy. All of those things are different from what other memorials to presidents can possibly do in this town. And we do that not just in Washington for Washington, but we do that around the world. We connect Washington to the world and the world to Washington.
I benefited in my role as a young diplomat involved in European-American, German-American relations from the wisdom and the knowledge and the competence present here at the Wilson Center.
It's a unique combination of going deep into knowing the different regions, knowing the leaders, knowing firsthand the different people, linking that to the strategic perspective around the issues.
A lot of the issues in the U.S.-Mexico relationship are really contentious, and they lend themselves to a lot of high-flown rhetoric. One of the things we were able to do at a time when everyone in the United States was thinking about Mexico as a major source of crime and a major problem because of the H1N1 virus was begin to take the conversation back to the economic interdependence that exists between Mexico and the United States.
The Wilson Center played a very, very important role in keeping a lot of these stories in context and providing a much deeper understanding of the opportunities and the challenges that Mexico was facing at the time.
It's a huge value to have an institution like the Wilson Center where you know you can really, really count on people to give it to you as straight as you can get these days.
Our ability as an institution to bring together the sharpest, best, most timely perspectives on what was going on in and around Ukraine, what was going on in Russia, what was going on in key European capitals, gives us a completely different and totally deeper perspective on what it means to be Ukrainian than when you hear in the media, for example, the description of a war between Ukraine and Russia.
This has been and continues to be the single biggest challenge to European security in almost 2 decades.
Speaking truth to power is never easy. Speaking truth in order to deal with conventional wisdom is never easy. And I think at the Wilson Center, you get that.
I wonder if it's the same thing. But I think it is. Can you look up greenhouse gas and see what it says?
Billion metric tons.
When I was working on my book last year about the Liberian president, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, hanging out with her a lot as part of my research, and she said, "Where are you writing?" And I said, "The Wilson Center," and she immediately knew exactly who the Wilson Center is, and she was quite impressed. The people here see the shades of gray, and that's what makes it so important. If you're coming into this as a reporter writing a story, you want to be talking to people who are going to see the shades of gray.
And you really need navigators to help you sort through which sources of information are of real value and which are not.
In many ways, it's sort of a blue skies, out of the box, research, analysis, and advocacy boombox.
What impresses me with the Woodrow Wilson Center is that you provide a venue, a meeting ground for decision makers and academics to meet and to exchange viewpoints, to exchange experiences and knowledge.
When you get these people here, they feel comfortable to speak out about whatever they think, regardless of whether the other person who is on the panel with them agrees or not. This is a forum for the speaker to really talk about substantial issues without thinking of the consequences.
I'm Neil Conan at the Woodrow Wilson Center in Washington, D.C. Our guest, Robert Kagan, author most recently of The World America Made, and David Ignatius, associate editor and columnist at The Washington Post.
When senior officials of the Obama administration, when critics of the Obama administration, when prominent people from the Middle East whose views may not be popular in Washington are seeking a place where they can talk about what they do, they'll often choose the Woodrow Wilson Center.
And that's unlike any place else. There's a feeling that this is really an institute that belongs to the ideas themselves.
If you think about Congress's role in foreign policy, maybe you should start with yourself.
Knowing that I'm leaving a partisan environment and going to a place where other people who also want to learn how to work together are going. The Wilson Center provides that.
I think it also helped me think more strategically about how to present policy ideas and action plans to the member.
It's outside of Capitol Hill, but it's in the middle of everything.
I do think that at least the partially good news here is if you look at our responses to...
At the top of their agenda, economic growth and trade among the three nations. For more on this, we're joined by Chris Wilson, associate of the Mexico Institute of the Woodrow Wilson Center in Washington.
Robert Hathaway of the Woodrow Wilson Center. Analyst Michael Adler with the Wilson Center says sanctions relief is likely to remain a major obstacle.
And Aaron David Miller, top Middle East envoy under several presidents, now with the Wilson Center. Thank you all.
I think that one of the reasons the Wilson Center is sought out by the media and government as well is because people know that they'll get straight answers.
By bringing together experts and scholars and policymakers to share information, they provide a unique resource of great value.
The African Growth and Opportunity Act is essentially the major trade agreement between the United States and the continent of Africa. So when we extend GOA this time, there will be other components to it, and part of that is based on advice and guidance that have come from the Wilson Center.
We have a voice in public policy. We have a voice in international affairs. We have a voice on every major strategic decision that the administration and Congress comes out with.
It's not oversimplified answers, but ones that are essentially clear and honest.